11, so similar ages to yourselves. Would I be happy as a parent seeing my 11 and 13-year-old vaccinated at this stage? I think I'd be nervous about it. I think I'd like to see more data being collected about the safety and the long-term impacts of vaccination at that age. I think where I agree with David is I think there's a much less risk in terms of the older age group. So if we're talking 16, 17-year-olds, which seems to be the suggestion today, I would be relaxed about that, and I can see why that makes sense. And these are individuals who within a couple of years, a year, will be eligible for vaccines anyway. I think there's probably a bigger issue, actually, about trying to encourage those in the 18 to 30 age group to take up the vaccine, because there are far too many people in that category who are being offered vaccines who, for various reasons, are not taking them up. And I think we need to understand better why there's a reluctance within that age group to take the vaccine, because they must be ones more at risk.
But of course, they're making their own minds up. The real issue we're discussing this morning is younger children and whether it should be imposed on them by their parents or whoever. Now, David, the difficulty has been on the mixed messaging we've been getting. Now, the JCVI has said they shouldn't routinely be available to children who do not have a specific risk factor. Now, ministers seem to be veering now towards the idea that, well, we should vaccinate them anyway. Do you understand why a lot of parents are just confused by this?
Well, things do change, and they change as we learn more about the disease and we learn more about the vaccines. And I think we have to accept in a rapidly moving situation as we're in, that things will change. The important thing, I think, is that evidence gets reviewed as it becomes available, and the best advice is given and should indeed be followed.
Well, David, surely then, like I said earlier, to reconfirm what I said, because I don't feel that I was in any way not giving a balanced view of it. Is there anything wrong with us just waiting for a moment, getting our heads around this? Because that's the way I feel, and I think that's what Murdo was saying as well.
I'm not sure what you're going to wait for. There is real-world evidence from hundreds of thousands of teenagers having been vaccinated from 12 upwards. I'm not sure what you want in terms of long-term evidence. For all of us, we have accepted numbers of people being vaccinated in a short period of time as good grounds to go ahead and roll out these vaccines. And I think that it's a sort of cop-out to say we want long-term data, because does that mean 5 years? Does that mean 10 years?
David, what is the evidence? What is the evidence that this will save lives?
I think the evidence it'll save lives is that it will impact on transmission. It will impact on the ability of young people to infect other people, and there will then be an ongoing spread to older people who are not all protected.
One of the concerns is the reaction, and everybody's different, we know that. I mean, we all know we've all had a different reaction if we've had the jab to others. I mean, the concern is, one of the biggest concerns with the Pfizer jab was that inflammation around the heart. I mean, I don't want my children put in that position right now when actually we don't know enough. We don't.
Well, I don't agree with you. I think that we know a great deal from the numbers who've been vaccinated in other parts of the world. We do know what the balance of benefit and risk is to a degree sufficient to make a recommendation.
Well, let's pick up on that, because
you also have to remember that
the Lancet, David, I'm sorry to
make their own choices.
David, the Lancet published a study across 7 countries which estimated that fewer than 2 out of every million children died with COVID during the pandemic. Now, on that basis alone, would you say that getting everybody vaccinated would be a good thing? We're reporting this morning on evidence that suggests that children are not going on, as in any noticeable numbers, to develop long COVID, which has been a concern. The evidence seems to be actually pointing away from what you're arguing.
No, I don't think it is. First of all, the study that you're talking about was of just over 1,000 children, I think. And we must separate whether we're talking about adolescents, particularly 16, 17-year-olds, and young children. And the issue that we're discussing is the vaccination of older teenagers. And I'm very much in favour that the 16 and 17s should be offered vaccination.
Yeah, well, you're also talking about younger children as well. But Murdo, David, thank you very much indeed. A very interesting discussion.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.